hunted by many warriors who wished to claim the prize of her head. Many tried, and many failed, turned to stone with just a glance at her hideous face. Medusa was not always considered a monster. In fact, it was quite the opposite. She was the only mortal of 3 sisters born to Phorkys and Ceto, 2 of the primordial sea gods. She possessed great beauty, and many men lusted for Medusa. But out of respect for the goddess Athena, she remained pure, and she would eventually become the priestess of Athena's temple. There were thousands who visited Athena's temple just for a glance at Medusa's beauty. They even claimed that her hair rivaled that of Athena. It wasn't long before Athena's jealousy of Medusa became resent. One day when Medusa was walking along the shore, she caught the attention of Poseidon, the god of the sea, and he was instantly infatuated with her. Medusa rejected multiple approaches from Poseidon, because if she wished to remain the priestess of Athena's temple, she must stay a virgin. Poseidon was in the middle of a conflict with Athena, and he saw Medusa as a possession that he could take from the goddess. Eventually Poseidon grew tired of being rejected by Medusa. He decided that he would take her by force. Medusa, in fear for her life, ran into Athena's temple in the hopes that the goddess would offer her protection. There was no protection given that evening, and Poseidon had his way with Medusa. When Poseidon had finished, Athena did appear, enraged by the events that had just taken place. She decided that she would punish Medusa, as punishment against a god such as Poseidon was considered unthinkable. Athena cursed Medusa. The hair that she was once so envious of, she turned into a head of venomous snakes. Anyone who looked into Medusa's eyes would be petrified and turned to stone. Word spread of the monster that Medusa had become, and she became the target of many warriors who wished to add her head to their list of trophies. All that tried shared the same fate, being turned into stone. Until the hero Perseus, son of Zeus, was tasked with retrieving her head. In order to complete the task, Perseus required aid from the gods. He was given a helmet from Hades that made him invisible to Medusa, a pair of winged sandals from Hermes allowing him to reach Medusa. Athena gave him a bronze shield able to reflect the gaze of Medusa, and lastly he was given a sword sharp enough to cut off the head of Medusa. With all of these divine gifts, Perseus was able to behead Medusa. At the time of her death, Medusa was pregnant with the offspring of Poseidon, and from her severed neck sprung the winged steed Pegasus. Perseus would use the head of Medusa to aid him in several adventures, and it played a crucial role when defeating the Titan Atlas. Medusa is probably one of the most misunderstood characters in Greek mythology. She is often regarded as a cruel monster. She had only the best intentions and placed her trust in the goddess Athena, who ultimately failed her and punished her for actions that were beyond her control. Her story shows us that even the gods are prone to the sins that they so heavily pride themselves above. Even in death, Medusa can be seen as a symbol of good, as her head is used as a protective amulet to keep evil away.
One of the most famous stories involving both Greek and Roman gods is the myth of the Trojan War, which features prominent deities from both pantheons. The story begins with the goddesses Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite vying for the title of the fairest among them. They ask Paris, a Trojan prince, to judge the contest. Each goddess offers him a bribe. Hera promises him power and wealth. Athena offers him wisdom and courage. And Aphrodite promises him the love of the most beautiful mortal woman, Helen. Paris chooses Aphrodite as the fairest, leading to a series of events that ultimately lead to the Trojan War. Helen, who was already married to the Greek king, Menelaus, falls in love with Paris and elopes with him to Troy. This act of Helen's elopement triggers a Greek coalition led by Menelaus, his brother Agamemnon, and the famous Greek hero Achilles, to set sail for Troy and retrieve Helen. Throughout the Trojan War, various Greek and Trojan gods take sides, influencing the outcome of the battles and events. For example, the Greek gods Hera, Athena, and Poseidon support the Greeks, while the Trojan god Apollo, along with Aphrodite and Ares, support the Trojans. The most famous divine intervention is when god Apollo helps Paris shoot an arrow that fatally wounds Achilles. The war rages on for 10 years, with numerous epic battles and heroic deeds on both sides. Finally, the Greeks employ a clever ruse, the Trojan horse, to gain entry to Troy. Under the guise of a peace offering, the Greeks hide inside a giant wooden horse, which the Trojans unwittingly bring into the city. At night, the Greeks emerge from inside the horse, open the city gates, and Troy is sacked. This conflict is primarily chronicled in Homer's Greek poems, the Iliad, and Roman poet Virgil's work, the Aeneid. The Aeneid by Virgil picks up the story after the fall of Troy and follows the journey of Aeneas, a Trojan hero, who eventually becomes the mythical founder of Rome. This epic poem connects the Trojan War with the Roman mythology, emphasizing the divine origins and destiny of Rome. The story of the Trojan War is a timeless and iconic tale featuring the interactions between Greek and Roman gods, with the theme of love, heroism, and destiny. It remains a classic example of how mythology and history have been intertwined in ancient literature.